Hi, and welcome to EBADay TV, and I'm here with the famous Ruth Wanderhofer from Citi. Now, okay, we've got EBADay in Madrid now in its sixth year. We all know the official line of what everyone's talking about, Sepa migration end dates, which there was a tweet that came out today that said, when will there be an end date for Sepa end date discussions?
Fair enough.
But, since you're the Sepa queen, what are people not talking about here?
Yeah, I think the biggest question, even if you have some sort of date, is who's going to enforce it properly and how many things can you potentially hide at market level? Because when we look at how the date is constructed, it talks about credit transfers and direct debits in the sort of retail space that should migrate to Sepa. But there are nationally quite a number of products that are, when you look at the flow, credits or debits, but they've got some sort of stuff around it, and people say, oh, they've got nothing to do with Sepa. And whilst you have a very obvious exemption for this German direct debit that is card initiated, there are a number of other national products in different countries that are used for 20, 30, 40%, quite significant percentages, so not niche, that are not being mentioned at all as having a longer transition period. So whilst the assumption is that these will obviously then go away when the end date comes in, that's not how the market sees the world. And the question I asked earlier in the Sepa session, which clearly wasn't answered, was of course, what happens with all these non-credit transfer, non-direct debit things that exist locally, for example, checks, but you have also other forms of trade finance products that are, again, as I said, credit transfers or direct debits, but they look slightly different for the outside. And so the big question for me is, what happens to these products? How will they be identified? And also, who's then going to say they will be either abolished at a certain day or they will continue forever? Because I think if they might continue longer, having no specific end date to themselves, you end up as a bank having to still process parallel at country level for certain extra products that are nothing to do with XML and ISO that have not been migrated. So the legacy infrastructure and the processing will coexist. On the other hand, of course, you will not have the competition that we all talk about. If you streamline on one standard and products evolving on that basis, it's much easier cross-country competition to be achieved. But if you keep your local flavors, there's no one that can compete with you. So what we concluded, at least, is that my payments regulatory expert group at the EBF, that also was responsible for the PSD guidance, is going to look into Sepa guidance. And the first task now, and the ECB and the Commission both agreed to that, is for us as a market to actually clarify what are all the domestic product sets that exist in every country, and which one of those would be immediately Sepa, which one would be maybe not exactly Sepa and maybe longer term migration, and which one, for example, checks, we should really just get rid of. Because we are all about electronic payments and efficiency.
Holding on to checks. Now, I'm going to keep with the theme of what people aren't talking about. I'm going to put you on the spot slightly. The other big news here on the floor at EBADay is who's going to buy Funtech. Do you have any guesses?
Well, I've got, luckily, no guesses at all. I do know that we're somehow involved in the transaction as Citi Group on the M&A side, but apart from that, I'm not aware of anything. It is something that is being debated, but I think it's better to just wait and see and wish them good luck.
You're no fun.
But I think the last point I wanted to mention, because the second important market theme is liquidity. And no one really knows what are the requirements under Basel III in the detail for reporting and for having the positions ready. And we did make it very clear that for a payment system, for example, the EBA Euro 1, the liquidity management, the collateral process will be very important. So every payment system, whether it's a high value or even low value, will also keep track of the requirements and make sure that the market has the most efficient solution.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks.